I have like 1 minute of stuff at the end.
Okay. Well, then can I ask my question?
Yeah.
You touched on the Palestinian-Israeli issue and what a terrible job has been done in this current administration. Could you share more of your thoughts about what should be done, or what?
In 4 minutes?
Well, no.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Yeah, this will be one of those quick questions that we started with.
Okay, let me just ask the audience this question. Do you want the honest answer to this question?
Yes.
Or do you want what I'm supposed to say? Because the honest answer is going to take a while, and it's going to depress the crap out of all of you.
You have to get on an airplane.
I do have to get on an airplane. I'll give you the quick, honest answer. There is no peace process. There is no two-state solution. It's over. The idea that we can continue at a time in which there are now 500,000 Israelis living on what's supposed to be the future Palestinian land, and the fact that that number is growing at an accelerated pace, there's nothing left of Palestine. So you can't call it Palestine anymore because there's nothing there. It's just Ramallah, that's it. You're just going to call Ramallah Palestine, and then some deserts in the Negev and Gaza. Nobody wants Gaza. It's over. So this notion of, well, we need to figure out a way to revive the peace process. We need to figure out a way to revive the peace process. Don't believe it. The peace process is nothing more than a waste of time so that the rest of the land can become gobbled up. That's all it is. From when Oslo was signed, there were about 100,000 settlers living in Palestine. That's when the peace process started with Oslo. And 20 years of the peace process has led to 500,000 Israelis living on Palestinian land. It's over. The two-state solution is over. There is no Palestine. There won't be a Palestine. So what's next? Well, what's next is the horrifying reality that nobody wanted, and which is going to happen whether we like it or not, which is one state for two people. The binational state, which you only hear people like me ever talk about, you only hear intellectuals and people who don't live in Israel talking about, because nobody wants this. The Palestinians don't want it, the Israelis don't want it, but the binational state, one state for two people, with clearly defined political rules, a president and a prime minister, perhaps a Palestinian president and an Israeli prime minister, in which you have a power-sharing deal and institutions necessary to maintain some kind of independent national cohesion amongst the two groups. Like we have in Belgium, for instance, or in Northern Ireland. Okay, now I know it didn't go all that well for a little while, and it's not going to be very clean in Israel-Palestine either, but it's happening. So I can't sit here and continue to say what I'm almost contractually obligated to say as a Middle East analyst, which is, we must revive the two-state process and we must get back to the negotiating table. No, there is no negotiating table. There is no negotiations to be done. There could have been. There was a moment in which this president had the opportunity to change everything, and he drew a line in the sand, and then not only did that line get crossed, but it got crossed, and then his face was planted into the sand and spat upon. And he did nothing. What the Israelis did to the United States in waiting for Joe Biden to show up, last year. I was in Israel when he was there. It was the most embarrassed I've ever been to be an American. For the President of the United States, the most powerful man on earth, a man who provides $3 billion a year in American taxpayers to a first world nation, which is what Israel is, a first world nation. That comes out, by the way, to about $1,200 a year per Israeli. For him to make a request that the Israeli government should follow international law, the law that the Geneva Accords and every nation on earth has accepted, just for a little while, in exchange for even more money. And for the Israeli government to go tell him to go screw himself, which is what they did, is the lowest position I think American power has been vis-a-vis the Middle East as long as I can remember. Everybody now knows, who wears the pants in this relationship now. Everybody knows it. I'm sorry for the sexist comment. Everybody knows it. And for a man like Obama to make the promises that he made and to fail so utterly and so miserably, and ultimately to put the death knell in the peace process, because that's what he will be known for. He will be known for as the man who finally and ultimately put an end to the possibility of a two-state solution. And he did that, by the way, with a single vote last week in the United Nations Security Council by vetoing a resolution that said simply this, that Israeli settlements on occupied Palestinian land are a violation of the Fourth Geneva Convention. By the way, we've stated that numerous times. Obama has stated that numerous times, that these settlements are illegal under the Geneva Accords. Every nation on earth, including Israel, has defined these settlements as illegal. Actually, the Supreme Court of Israel has said that technically this counts as a military occupation. Therefore, since Israel is a signatory to the Geneva Conventions, they are in violation of the Geneva Accords. Every nation on earth accepts this. And for the United States to stand amongst 196 nations and say, veto, we're not gonna let this simple resolution even come to a vote, we won't let it come to a vote, was the death knell. That's it. That was the moment in which it's over. So it's time to stop thinking about the past, because that's done. It's now time to start thinking about what do we do from here. The one-state solution is messy. It's fraught with so many complications that we don't have time to talk about it right now. It will lead to bloodshed, of course, but there is no other option. It's happening. It's happening as we sit here anyway, so we might as well start getting ready for it.
Okay, 4 things.